Hey, what's up? I'm JB Brubaker. I play guitar for August Burns Red.
Awesome. So, if you count the Christmas record you guys did, Rescue and Restore is a 6th studio album that the band has released. What would you say was different about the process of writing and recording this album as compared to anything you have worked on before?
Well, Rescue and Restore, the big difference on this one was that we did it all at home. We recorded at a studio called Atrium Audio, which is located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So, typically we had all gone to Nashville or Florida or wherever to do our previous records. So it was nice to be able to go into the studio, treat it like a job, like a 9 to 5, and then go home, eat dinner, and go to sleep at home, and then go back in the morning, which was a really nice change of pace for how some of our past albums have gone. The writing process was very similar to how our previous albums have been done, as far as music and lyrically speaking. So nothing new and exciting in that regard, but certainly recording at home was a new and really good change for us as a band.
Very cool. So you guys just released a video for Provision, which was the first track on the new record. Can you tell me a little bit more about the concept behind the video, and how is it, the video and the theme of itself significant to that particular song?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I personally don't know that what's happening in the video has anything to do with the meaning of the song Provision.
Okay.
However, we just wanted to do something that we thought was visually interesting, and I think that's honestly going to be the goal for a lot of bands when they make music videos. I could be wrong, and maybe that's just something we do, but I guess the song is pretty chaotic, and in that it's visually very chaotic, but it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the content of the lyrics. But the whole video was shot on green screen. We each did a take separately. There were no takes done collectively as a band, and it took them months, but it was edited together piece by piece with all of the craziness that's going on. I can't imagine putting it together. I know that it was quite time consuming, but I'm really stoked on how it came out.
Yeah, definitely. So what is the significance behind the album artwork for Rescue and Restore?
Well, the album artwork tells a story in itself. There's a guy on the cover who's kind of no, I'm mixing up the vinyl cover from the from the CD. Basically, the story is this guy is like a broken man who finds a wounded bird and basically nurses it back to life. He rescues it and restores it, and in doing so restores himself.
Got it.
That's kind of the concept behind the artwork.
Very cool. So this is, from listening to it, I'd say it's definitely August Burns Red's, in my opinion, most ambitious and technical album to date. What would you say is it about your band that motivates you guys to continually try to step out of the boundaries of what it is that you create and to always push yourselves with every record?
Well, this will sound extremely snobby, but we want to try to stay at the forefront of our genre.
That's not snobby.
Well, and one of the biggest motivators is to try to stay ahead of what a lot of our peers are doing and not kind of fall into the same trends and cliches that become whole albums for many bands. We've been doing this for a little while now. As you said, we have a lot of records out, and it's important to us to continue to change, just not only to keep ourselves interested in what we're doing, but to also keep our music fresh and somewhat exciting for our fans, because surely it's easy to fall into a cycle of kind of just rehashing what you've always done. So for that reason, we're always trying to bring in new elements and different sounds and different instruments and whatnot, and just trying to keep our band as fresh as we can for everyone that cares about the band, from us as well as our fans.
Absolutely. Very cool. So could you tell me a little bit more about the lyrics behind the song Treatment?
Yes.
Cool.
Treatment was written by Brent Rambler, our other guitar player, and that song is about basically, I guess, the fair treatment of others, regardless of what they believe in, what their sexuality might be, basically anything. It's important that I think that we don't dismiss people immediately based on what they believe in. As everyone has different beliefs, that doesn't make them wrong or right. I mean, it's who knows what's right, I guess, as far as how, I don't know, like what religion is true or whatever. I mean, everyone believes different things and everyone believes themselves to be right. But, you know, we think it's important that you try to treat people regardless of what their beliefs and whatever are. So, for instance, you wouldn't want to just write off some dude because he's gay, or this guy because he's not a Christian. And there's a lot of very judgmental Christians out there, and that's something that you know, we see, and that's disappointing to us as a Christian band. You know, you don't want to see that mistreatment of others. So we were taught to love everyone. That's like a big forefront in Christianity, and that's something that I think a lot of people forget. And
I agree. It's interesting. I actually, I'm a junior in college, and I am in a Catholicism class, and that was one of the things that we were talking about. How there's a lot of judgmental Christians and people.
Yeah, and honestly, it gives the religion a bad name, and it's honestly, I don't think what the focus should be on.
Yeah, I mean, didn't
Christians are supposed to love everyone?
Yeah.
Regardless of anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
that's what Jesus did. So.
Exactly, I was about to say, didn't Jesus say to love everybody?
Yeah, so that's kind of what treatment's about.
Very cool. What would you guys say is your approach to writing lyrics for your songs?
Well, we have a very democratic approach to lyrics, and we kind of tightened up the process a little bit on this last record. I really like the way we did it. Basically, we had a deadline when you had to have your lyrics in, and we all printed out our lyrics and put them into a big pile and sat down. Everyone read them, and then we had like a list, and we'd give each song a ranking from 1 to 4 stars. And then we tallied up the stars, and whichever songs had the most stars were the ones that got used. So, you know, that might not seem like a very like artistic way to do it.
No,
but we had a lot of songs written lyrically, and this was a really great way to diplomatically do it, where we knew we were getting the best material based on the 5 of our heads being put together.
Absolutely. So you guys have stated many times before, and as we just talked about, you guys are a Christian band. In your opinion, how would you say that your faith plays into your music?
Well, I think that it's more of something that just comes across in some of the lyrics, and certainly not in all the lyrics. You know, there's a lot of things that are important to us beyond just Christianity or faith. So I don't personally believe in Christian music. I don't think that is a thing. Music is music, and then there's Christian lyrics. So I guess Christian elements in our band would come from content in the lyrics.
Absolutely. So the next 2 questions I asked to every artist that I interview. What kind of message would you like fans to walk away with after listening to your music?
Well, I guess there's a lot of different things being talked about in our music. We'd like to have a more uplifting and positive message. We try to keep things fairly, I guess, wholesome compared to some bands. And I say this often in interviews, but there's a lot of bands out there who are bringing a pretty dark message to young and impressionable minds, and I think that that's really irresponsible when you're kind of put on the pedestal where people are going to listen to what you say. And we as a band don't personally want to be responsible for the further demoralizing of the next generation.
Yeah. What kind of dark messages would you say?
Oh, I don't know, just the glorification of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, sort of that whole cliche thing. I mean, especially I think one that I notice a lot of is the just like subjecting women, or making them objects. I'm sorry.
That one's huge.
Subjecting them, which is getting kind of disgusting at times, and even like the ridiculous T-shirts that have like suck my effing dick, like just I don't quite get how that got. I guess it's shocking, so it's cool, but you know, that's not really our cup of tea.
For sure. And then the next question is, what does music mean to you?
Music for me is a form of entertainment, and I know it can be a lot more than that. But at the root of it, that's what it is for me. Certainly, I've been moved emotionally by music, and it's psyched me up, it's chilled me out. You know, it can do lots of things, but you know, it's a good it's good entertainment.
Wonderful.
As far as I'm concerned.
And last question is, after this current headlining tour you're doing with Bless the Fall, Defeater, and Beartooth, what are the future plans for August Burns Red?
We're going to take some time off for the holidays. This tour runs up almost into Christmas, and we'll take off most of January before doing an extensive UK and Ireland tour that runs right into Soundwave in Australia.
Great.
And, you know, that'll keep us busy for a little while.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here and do the interview with us.
Thank you.